What's up and welcome back to my channel. It's JVceo. If you're tuning in for the first time, make sure you like, comment and subscribe. So this video I've actually been excited to do for a while, like since even last year. I wanted to do it differently, but due to COVID and a whole bunch of organizing and stuff, I decided to do it this way. Our watch is really an investment. I'm literally going to drill into it today because I think we're at that stage where everyone's getting watches these days, whether as a fashion accessory or as an investment. So I thought, what better place to actually talk about it than on my platform. And what I initially wanted to do was I was going to bring up one of my mates that sells watches, and he would have taken one end and I would have taken the other end, and we would have had like a live debate. But unfortunately, it wasn't very feasible. So I'm going to try and be as fair as possible, watch all the way till the end to get my opinion, but to also find out all the pitfalls that are prevalent in sort of like the watch buying world, if that makes any sense. Well, let's start this video by showing you my current collection. I'll talk you through the numbers and tell you if my particular collection is an investment, and then we could sort of go on to the wider sort of watches in general. Right, so what I've got here is my Rolex Yachtmaster. Honestly, if you're waiting for like a detailed sort of review, then forget about it, because I'm not a watch reviewer and I don't know that much about watches. But such a beautiful watch. I paid 11,100 for this. It was up for 11,700, but I ended up getting it for 11,100. And then we've got one of my favorite, if not my favorite watch in my collection. It's a bit dirty at the moment. Not the Apple Watch, no. We've got my original Yachtmaster. So this is a 2017, my original Cartier Santos 100. So this is a 2017 Cartier Santos 100. It originally had the alligator strap on it, but I've taken that and I put an aftermarket strap. It's a bit dirty, so I need to clean it. I haven't cleaned my watches in a minute. I paid 4,350 for this, or 450, I can't remember, but somewhere in the region of 4,500. That's how much I paid for this now. And generally speaking, this at the moment, it's kind of hard to say what it's worth, because this is a 2017 model. I bought it in 2018, but most of the watches that are from like the 2010, 11, 12 era are going for around about the same price. So my guess is, you know, maybe for something with a similar year of mine, it will probably go for maybe 1,000 more. So I guess you could say I made some money on that. And then back to the Yachtmaster, again, I think that will probably go for around about maybe 11,500. So a small tidy profit on that as well. And then we've got my two newest watches. I bought the Milgauss in December and I bought the Yachtmaster in January. Both of these I bought directly from the AD, so I bought them for really cheap. I bought that for around 6,700, I believe, and I bought the Yachtmaster for I think 14,950. Both beautiful watches. I really wear these. With the Milgauss, I can really sell it for around 8,500 quite easily, because there's quite a demand for it, and it's pretty difficult to get it at retail. With the Yachtmaster, I'll probably just about break even. And then finally, I've got what I'm wearing on my wrist, that being the Cartier Santos, the new sort of shape, if you want to call it that. Beautiful watch. I think this might be my second favorite watches. So I think my top three is my original Cartier Santos, this Cartier with the blue dial, and then probably the Milgauss, if I'm honest with you. I love those watches. This I paid 6,100 for. Cartier is now selling it for around 6,500. And in terms of the resale, I think I'd actually lose money on this, because obviously it's quite readily available from Cartier. So these are my watches. All in all, I spent around 46,000 across all these watches. I think, if the maths is correct, I think that's what my spend is at the moment. And let's go into whether watches are an investment or not. Right, so let's start by firstly defining what an investment is. And I'm reading it out here from Google. The action or process of investing money for profit. That's an investment. Is there another definition? To invest is to allocate money in expectation of some benefit or return in the future. In other words, to invest means owning an asset or an item with the goal of generating income from the investment or the appreciation of your investment, which is an increase in the value of the asset over a period of time. Right, so if we go by that definition, what is an investment? It could be, but let's now go into it a bit deeper. Number one, it depends on how you purchase the watch. So I'm just going to blow through this, yeah? It depends on how you purchase the watch. So in my opinion, right, if you're spending over retail, like let's say now, let's talk about the Submariners, for example. I think they're called the Starbucks, the Starbucks, which is the green dial. I'll try and throw up a picture now, right? But for example, you're probably paying anywhere from 14 to 16,000 for that. Even though from a retailer, from Rolex directly, it's around 7,000, 7,500. So buying it at that steep price, how much of an investment is it? What's the scope for it to go up even further? That's one thing you have to bear in mind. So a perfect example being the Milgauss, I could have bought it from, you know, a secondary market for around 8.5, maybe even 9,000. But I waited and I got it directly from Rolex. So now I have more skin in the game, if you want to call it that. So that's that in terms of how you purchase the watch. That will determine whether it's an investment or not. Now moving forward, there is something that we seem to forget about watches. I feel like watches are a very, very new phenomenon. So unlike gold, unlike assets in terms of houses, land, and so on and so forth, that we've got a track record for 30, 40, 50 plus years, right? With watches, I don't think the watch game has a track record yet of being an investment. Can I go back and study what Rolex did from 2020 all the way back to the 90s, for example? Can I really study it? Not really. There's not really a track record of such or a database of that sort of data. So, you know, jumping off and saying it's an investment, I think it might be reaching. It might be reaching. Towards the end of this video, I will give my opinion. In fact, I'm going to give my opinion now. I don't think watches are an investment. I think they're great at holding your money, but I don't necessarily call them an investment. The reason being, for me, I would add an extra layer to the definition that, you know, that I read earlier on. So for me to see it as an investment, it would either mean I'm purchasing it for a decent amount of profit, or I'm purchasing it to leverage across my portfolio because maybe I've got too much houses, got too many lands or parcels of land, and I'm looking to just balance out my portfolio, so I'm just introducing something else. But I don't see watches that way. I don't see it as introducing something else, because again, if we took it a step further, right, even let's say the Milgauss with a very good profit margin on it, bought it for 6.5, could easily sell it for 8.5. That's only if I'm selling it directly to the end user, that being someone else like myself, right? I could sell it for that much. However, most people would end up selling their watches back to the stores that they bought it from, or back to, you know, just a Hatton Garden or the equivalent. When you do this, you end up losing a significant amount of profit because those corporations or those companies would have to, you know, give you a much lower offer so that they can add their drink on it and make their own profit. So how much of an investment is it? Now you think about it, you know, you buy a watch for 10,000, for example, you hold it on for, let's say, 3 years, and now it's appreciated to, let's say, 13,000, right? Cool, 13,000. You go and sell this watch now, right? And, you know, yeah, it's worth 13,000, but they're going to give you maybe 10,500 for it, maybe 9,000 for it, because then they buy it from you at that lower cost, and then they put it up and sell it for around that 13,000, which is what the actual market value is. You actually don't get the benefit of that appreciation. So back to the definition. The definition alluded to, you know, an investment being something that can make you more money over a period of time. So in that case, is a watch an investment? Yes, on the front end, it seems to be, because you've made some appreciation gains on it, but not really, not really. So that there is what I call your exit strategy from the watch game. So now, if we done the maths on mine, right, just to make sure I'm correct with my maths, so 4,500 on the first one, 6,100 on the second one, 1,100 on the third one, 6,700 on the fourth one, and then 15,000 on the last one. So that's 43,400. If I was to sell my whole collection now, I guarantee you that I would probably, if I didn't sell it to the end user, I guarantee you that I would probably, for my whole collection, I'll probably get somewhere in the region of 39,000. That's you know, my main point. And that's why I don't really call it an investment. And now, let's take it a step further. So like I said, I've spent roughly 45,000 pounds on this. If I had put 45,000 into a bunch of buy-to-let properties up north, making an 8% net yield on them, for example, or potentially I have put that 45,000 into land investment in Nigeria, what do you think my return would be after 3 years, out of curiosity? So that's why I don't like to call watches an investment. You know, don't get me wrong, there's always an exception. Like, you have some watches that have done phenomenally well. An example being, if you buy the Submariners at retail, if you buy the GMTs at retail, if you buy the Anniversaries at retail, the Patek Philippe's, the Audemars Royal Offshore, and even Audemars Royal Oaks as well. Some of these watches are definitely, could be classed as an investment. But I'm looking at the whole watch world. It's one thing if you're saying that the elite sort of 10% of watches are an investment, but is that good enough to say that watches in general are an investment? I don't think so. Now, moving on to something else, actually, continuing with what we just spoke about. So we've established now that with a watch, you can't really earn any monthly income from it. Like I said, I can literally take my 45 grand and earn maybe an 8% net yield and potentially like a 25% ROI, return on investment. So in 4 years, I would have got back my 45,000, you know, and then from there on, it's all profit. Can a watch give you that level of return? Never. In my opinion, anyways, never. And let's be honest, you know, a lot of us, we're not buying watches consciously as an investment. We're not buying it strategically. Right, I'm going to hold it for this amount of time. This is my exit strategy. I'm going to sell it, but I'm not going to sell it to the stores. I'm going to sell it to an individual. This is how I'm going to go about it. We're not very meticulous in our approach. So how can we possibly call it an investment? That's what my argument is. And then for me, I think the final piece of the puzzle, for me, it's, you know, safeguarding your investment. Because I think safeguarding your investment is probably even bigger than investing, because it's all well and good running off and investing. If you end up losing all your funds, then, you know, it's a worthless investment, isn't it? So now, to safeguard your property, you have insurance. To safeguard your property, it's an immovable asset. These are ways you safeguard your investment. Safeguard your land, again, similar, you know. But now, when we talk about watches, these are things that if you look now closely, for example, I have scratches all over all the watches. These are all watches that were purchased brand new, all of them, I believe, apart from, actually, all of them were purchased brand new, I believe. So, yeah, so they're all scratches all over them. Not to mention, I don't have no insurance on these watches. I mean, I store them. I don't store them at home. I store them somewhere else. Yeah, I store them somewhere else, right? So, no insurance, easy to be stolen, easily stolen. There's no real safeguard around this investment. So you've literally put up 45,000 with a risk of just literally losing it all in one go. You know, whereas now, if I put that 45,000 into properties, it's an immovable asset. You know, it's right there for me. There is insurance. If I put this money into stocks, you know, it's safe in my portfolio. But with the watch game instead, you know, we buy it and we're wearing it all the time. So it's difficult to see it as an investment. I'd like to take this video a step further and, you know, discuss it with someone else, because maybe when someone else is able to take the other side of the argument, I might even bring out some very tactical points I haven't even thought about for this video. So, you know, if you want to jump on and have a nice debate with me about whether watches are an investment or not, that I'm more than happy to host you on the channel. But yeah, so in my opinion, I don't think they're an investment. I think they're a great way of holding your money. It's a great way of stabilizing your money, and I guess it would sort of beat inflation and stuff like that, or beat deflation, should I say, and stuff like that. But other than that, in my opinion, I don't think watches are an investment. I'd love to know what you think. So drop your comments in the comment section, and keep supporting the channel, and let's get to the next 1,000 subscribers. So we're on 1,003 something. So let's get to like 2,500. That would be a very good place to be over the next couple of months. But yeah, thank you for watching. Until next time.